Lost media. Lost media is something I just find so fun. Some pieces of lost media have been found, and some haven't been found, and frankly, I don't want found. But there are some pieces of lost media that is so obscure and so interesting to me that I just can't get them out of my head. Those are my favorite things to think about. And what if they're found? What will happen then? What would they be like? How would they look? So today I'm going to go over the pieces of lost media that need more attention and need to be found. Let's start with one that isn't Thomas related actually. When Nick Park began making A Grand Day Out, he recorded the lines for his characters before animating, as any animator should. But the original story of A Grand Day Out was a lot different from the finalized product. It included Wallace being thrown into a space prison and a few other major differences. But the short was changed because midway through animating, the people at Aardman told him that if he wanted to do the entire film, it would take him an extra 10 to 20 years to do so. But that also means that there's a chance that out somewhere in the world, there's a recording of Peter Salas's audio for the original Grand Day Out. I know it's highly unlikely because of the Aardman fire that happened in 2005, but it would be amazing to have the original audio for the original Grand Day Out, to actually hear more or less what the original film would have been. I can definitely see this audio being released for an anniversary with new animation added on top of the audio. Now let's move on to the next one. In 2008, Hit Entertainment called on Stardust Pictures to animate 2 tests to see what Thomas in CGI would look like. They would take 2 episodes from the Hit era and animate them in CGI. The 2 episodes chosen were Thomas and the Stinky Cheese and Don't Be Silly Billy. Thankfully, we have some footage from Thomas and the Stinky Cheese, as seen on the screen now. But Don't Be Silly Billy is only known to exist through some storyboards that have been posted online. As someone who watched the CGI era when he was younger, I would love to see the beginnings of that era. It was the one that I watched when I was a kid, and I'll always have a soft spot for it in my heart. Hopefully, someday, someone will find it in their garage or something. The 1953 sad story of Henry pilot was a pilot made in, 1953 by the BBC. The pilot would use specially created models and modified Hornby models for some of the characters. And to fit the runtime, they combined 2 stories into one from the Railway series. But the pilot was a disaster. The sets did not look realistic, the characters ran poorly, the narration was off sync by a few milliseconds, and the most famous error of this pilot was the fact that Henry's model derailed during the film shoot, and since this was live, a hand had to come in and place the model back on the tracks. Yeah, I wouldn't want to watch that. So the series was cancelled, and nothing else became of it. Some people hope that a recording of it still exists out there, and so do I. There have been older film reels that have been discovered that are older than 1950, but the BBC were famous for taping over some of their recorded segments and episodes, so it's highly unlikely. But not impossible. Photos and documents from the broadcast have been shown to still exist, and supposedly props still exist from the pilot. So, there is still hope. I have a soft spot for season 12. It was the era of the show that I watched the most outside of the CGI era. And when I learned that one of my favorite Thomas narrators, James Bond himself, from one of my favorite Thomas specials, voiced all of season 12, I was very interested. Pierce Brosnan narrated all of season 12, and the animation is lip-synced to his narration. So when he was cut, all the narrators had to sync their lines to his lines because of the animation. Yeah, that must have been painful. None of his audio has surfaced besides one that was found on an animation reel on YouTube.
Whew, I'm sorry I'm late. I took a shortcut, but I got lost. Huh, I never get lost. I know the railway better than any other engine.
I would love for this to surface. I love The Great Discovery. It's one of my favorite Thomas specials, even to this day. And hearing Pierce Brosnan narrate one of my favorite seasons of the show, purely for nostalgic reasons, that would just be a gift from the heavens above. I love the 1976 pilot. I don't know what it is. It's just so mysterious that it's honestly it's just honestly so crazy to think what this could have been like. And also, I might be one of the only people, but I like the art style. The man who created this was named Andrew Lloyd Webber. He was a big fan of Thomas the Tank Engine, and when he got the chance to make a series off of him, he wasted no time in doing so. The series was to be called Thomas the Tank Engine. It was a musical series animated in 2D animation. The characters would be cut out and put onto a background similar to the style of Ivor the Engine. And after many disputes with Audrey and the publishers, production began in 1975. And it is said that the pilot was finished in 1977. Finished. That means there's animation and audio that exists. Some people might say that he just got rid of it because it was cancelled. No, when you're a Thomas fan, when you're a fan of something, when you make something that people see and enjoy, you remember it and you hold on to it dearly. You make many copies of it. I should know. So there's a highly likely chance that in Lloyd's house, there is still the animation or even music from the production. I am almost certain. I know that's a theory. I know that's my theory, but I am almost certain that that's the case. And that's it for this video. I hope you all learned something new and enjoyed it as well. I will see you soon and have a great rest of your day.